feeling like a loner lately. Been a minute since I woke up feeling sober. When awake, I'm seeing nightmares. Sleeping, you are right there like you never left. And I am hoping that you might care. Change on me. What about us? What about the times when I feel like I could trust? Yeah, now I'm on a chase for the same shit. I hear the sirens in the lake and wanna chase them. Beauty on the out, but I'm surrounded by the fake shit. Beasts in a maze. Sing about freedom like a bird in a cage. That's a whole different pain. Calling up my homies and it's hard to explain. Yeah, it's hard to explain. Staying on my mind on the usual. Wanna call you up like we used to do. Tell you all the things I could do for you. Nah, 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 to me, nah, 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 right now. Staying on my mind on the usual. Wanna call you up like we used to do. Tell you all the things I could do for you. Nah, 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 to me, nah, 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 right now. I wonder if you're social lately. I wonder if you're always fucking sober or emotion roller coaster, barely coasting, hardly cope and wanna call me, but you never push that motherfucking button. Change on me. What about us? What about the times when you feel like you could trust? Yeah, now you wanna chase for the same shit. You hear the sirens in the lake and wanna chase them. Beauty on the out, but you're surrounded by the fake shit. Beasts in a maze. Sing about freedom like a bird in a cage. That's a whole different pain. Calling up your homies and it's hard to explain. Yeah, it's hard to explain. Staying on my mind on the usual. Wanna call you up like we used to do. Tell you all the things I could do for you. Nah, 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 to me, nah, 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 right now. Staying on my mind on the usual. Wanna call you up like we used to do. Tell you all the things I could do for you. Nah, 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 to me, nah, 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 right now.
Tell the truth.
I'm seeing nightmares, sleeping, you are right there like you never left. And I am hoping that you might care. Change on me. What about us? What about the times when I feel like I could trust? Yeah, now I'm on a chase for the same shit. I hear the sirens in the lake and wanna chase them. Beauty on the out, but I'm surrounded by the fake shit. Beasts in a maze. Sing about freedom like a bird in a cage. That's a whole different pain. Calling up my homies and it's hard to explain. Yeah, it's hard to explain. Staying on my mind on the usual. Wanna call you up like we used to do. Tell you all the things I could do for you. Nah, 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 to me, nah, 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 right now. Staying on my mind on the usual. Wanna call you up like we used to do. Tell you all the things I could do for you. Nah, nah, nah.
What's up, everybody? This is Prime Sports Media. I've had a I can't tell y'all, I've had a lot of technical problems since yesterday and even today. I tried to go live just not too long ago, had an issue, so I'm back. Let me do the first thing is first. For some of the people that are in the chat room right now, let me know if you can hear me by putting 7s in the chat room, because yesterday there was some audio issues. If you can hear me, what's going on, Alicia? Good to see you. Blue Devil is over here. Let me know if you all can hear me by saying yes or putting 7s. If you can't hear me saying no, let me know, because I had to fix something in the laboratory. So just let me know by putting those 7s in the chat room if you can definitely hear me. I want to make sure that you can hear me. Let me do a little test here. Okay. I know that you can hear me now. I did a little test right here. So ladies and gentlemen, let me get at it right now. Yesterday, I was supposed to do this video. There has been a lot that has happened. I want to discuss Antwann Hill Jr., but I want to give a different perspective than maybe you've heard about this situation. I want to talk about some of the issues that are going on in terms of recruitment and how there's a lot behind the scenes that is impacting and having an impact on Coach Prime and CU that could be contributing to why they lost 3 recruits, but they lost another recruit who I'm going to talk about right here, and that's Danny O'Neal. They lost him. He's a 4-star. He was a finalist in the Elite 11. That's a tournament where you get all the best quarterbacks in the country and have them play it out as to who's the best. So he was a finalist in the Elite 11 quarterbacks in the country. I want to definitely get into the situation with Antwann Hill, because a lot of people, everyone put out there, you know, even on my video, that he decommitted, but it doesn't mean that they can't bring this young man back into the fold. Okay. So I want you, good. You can all hear me. I appreciate that. Thank you for definitely coming back over and, you know, hanging in there with me. Some technical problems. Yesterday, I realized that my audio wasn't working because I had the wrong bus turned on. They have these audio buses, and mine was not set up properly. Somehow a mistake was made on my end. So I'm here live. I got a lot of material to go over. I don't want to take you up all your time today, but I do want to go over some material to give you a inside understanding of this whole thing we call recruitment. I want to first make this announcement because if you have not heard about this, Sean Lewis is now touted to take the San Diego State job. He's been long rumored. He has been long rumored to not only take that job, but they had connected him to the Michigan State job because you had Mel Tucker, who lost his situation there over some sexual improprieties and things of that nature that were going on over there at Michigan State. And then a week ago, they said that Sean Lewis, or they connected Sean Lewis potentially to the Syracuse job because Sean Lewis coached at Syracuse. That's where he got it. I think he got his start. So now they're saying that Sean Lewis looks like he's a shoo-in at San Diego State. Sean Lewis, this was broken by Brent McMurphy, who's a very reputable source in the sports world. And Sean Lewis will be the San Diego State coach. Sources told Action Network HQ that Lewis, Kent State coach from 2018 to 22 before joining Colorado as an offensive coordinator this season. Lewis was stripped of his play calling duties after 8 games by Deion Sanders. Now, we all were calling for Sean Lewis to be modified from his position. We weren't happy. There were play calling that was questionable at best. Management of the game, very questionable. You have to look at the coaching staff when it comes to that. And in this, frankly, Sean Lewis didn't do a good job with the way he ran or called his plays, especially as it related to Shador having his struggles with an offensive line that was not always as stout to give him blocking protection. And I'm going to talk about Shador Sanders before this podcast is finished, because there's some updates that you need to be concerned about his health. And I want to bring that up. I don't know how many people have covered what I'm about to cover, but I'm going to cover that too near the end. So Sean Lewis is out as the offensive coordinator permanently because they're saying he's going to take the San Diego State job. I think that's a good move for Sean Lewis, because this is a guy that was a head coach at one point in time, and who would want to be demoted in the way that he was demoted? But I'm sorry, some of his play calling was very inconsistent, kept calling the same plays that defenses could just pick out what they were doing every time. And a lot of people, fans, those of us on social media, we were not happy with the results that we were seeing. I want to say thank you to Beach Material that's in the house. We got 89 here. We got DD, BB. Thank you for coming over. Definitely rocking with me. DB, you've been rocking with me pretty heavy. So we're going to mod you up. We're going to mod you up because you've been rocking very heavy with us over here. So you're modded up. Welcome to the mod crew. So that opens the door for Coach Prime to bring someone else in that might be more suitable at this point in time with the play calling duties. So good luck to Sean Lewis. You know, I don't wish him any bad wishes. This is the game of sports. Guys come, guys go, guys leave, guys sign to other programs. All sorts of things happen. Let me also, as a reminder, and we know this one too, is that we know that Tim Brewster is leaving as well. The offense, he's the tight end coach, not the offensive line coach. I like to know what they're going to do at that position too. But this man right here, the tight end coach, is now, as you know, he's resigning. There's a lot of innuendo as to why is he leaving. I think that he probably wasn't happy with the fact that he's a tight end coach and the tight ends really weren't a big part of this offense, whether it be blocking or receiving. Michael Harrison, who was really the only one that got key time, is not really a true blocking tight end. Folks, he's more of a receiver than anything else. And he had his moments this year, but I wonder if that may have something to do with why this man is leaving. He was fired up during the beginning of the season. Let me show you a clip right here. This is fair use with the purpose of news reporting, critical analysis. Check this out.
We'll have the best tight end room in the country. Bank that shit. Let's go. Absolutely love it. We'll have the best tight end room in the country. Bank that shit. Let's go. Absolutely love it. We'll have the best tight end room in the country.
So right there, he said that we'll have the best tight end crew in the country. I want to push this
that shit.
Here.
Let's go. Absolutely love it. We'll have the best.
I want to pause it there because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tight ends. There's one guy behind the guy right here. That's the biggest guy in front of you. And I don't see how when any of these guys were used in the offense, especially when Shador Sanders was taking all those hits. That's the thing that puzzled me the most. When Shador was taking hits, you're supposed to use tight ends for blocking schemes. So I wonder if that could be the reason why Tim Brewster is leaving the program, because he's either not happy with his role as a coach on the team. We'll have to find out and see what happens. Now, I want to say peace and respect to everybody in the chat room. Negro is here. DJ Promo is here. Herbert Scott. Thank you all for being here. I am going to read some of your comments today, but I want you in the chat room to express what you think is going on. Now, look, I've said this several times. I know that Coach Prime has his critics. I know that those of you feel like, hey, the buck falls with him. He's the coach. It all has to fall on Coach Prime, why the team was not as good this year. But I think if you're going to have criticism, make it football-related criticism. I really don't want to get into the personal criticisms and stuff like that. I don't want to get into the Jason Woodlock type stuff, where Jason Woodlock had the audacity to call this man and compare this man to Jim Jones. I don't know how many of you seen that video, but I think Jason Woodlock should be ashamed of himself for comparing Coach Prime to a guy that was literally a murderer of people. He killed people. I lived in the community where that church was at. I had friends I went to high school that lost their family, and you had Jason Woodlock comparing Coach Prime to a guy that was literally a mass murderer. That didn't make any sense. That's what I mean by that was personal. That wasn't football related. So let's get over here, and I want to talk about this area right here. The young man, and stay on this channel, everybody, because I'm not just going to be talking about Antwann Hill Jr., but I'll be talking about other matters that you're going to find very interesting related to all of this. So Antwann Hill, if you all remembered some time ago, he said he was coming to Boulder. He let us know that he was ready to do his thing in Boulder. Remember this?
Going on, Buffalo family, get touchdown in Colorado. Going on, Buffalo family, get touchdown in Colorado. Going on.
When he touched down in Colorado, ladies and gentlemen, remember he met with Coach Prime. From all intents and purposes, he enjoyed his time there. There he is with Coach Prime, and he had made his commitment. What I want people to understand here, and tell me if I'm right or wrong, is that we're dealing with 17-year-olds, 16-year-olds, and 18-year-old kids who changed their mind. Even though he has decommitted, it does not mean that he could not still be back with this team. Let me give you this, for example. Look at him right here in his throwing skills. Let me let you know something, folks. This is according to, this is clutch points. Colorado, Deion Sanders loses commitment from star quarterback, but there's a catch to it, ladies and gentlemen. And this is what the catch is. This is what the young man said, that people have areas doing his thing, but this is what the young man said to sports media that people have failed to, I think, emphasize enough. He said that Colorado is still a top priority for him, for Hill. Hill said this. He said this to ESPN. I really just want to take the process slower, make sure I'm making the right decision for me and my family. At the end of the day, I am going to get back out there on the market and make the right decision. Now, he has the right to make the right decision. He has the right to make that decision for himself, what he wants to do. Ladies and gentlemen, he has every right to do that. But what I want you all to understand this is that why is it that Coach Prime, he loses he has 3 kids who decommit from the program? And every other coach in the country, whether it be Nick Saban, all the top coaches, they lose players as well. Every college program has kids who commit, then decommit, then commit again. But it's being magnified and blown out of proportion because it's Coach Prime and he comes with a certain cachet of celebrity cachet to him, right? What do you all think about that? And so now people are thinking that, oh, he's losing, everything is falling apart. Oh, he's losing coaches. Every program loses coaches and gains coaches. Every program. When we look at the top programs in Alabama, Ohio, Michigan, do you know how many kids they lose to decommitment? How many kids they lose to transfer portal? So we can't start, the media is blowing it out of proportion because, yeah, he lost 3 key guys. But the bottom line is Antwann Hill Jr. said that he still is keeping Colorado in mind. So Coach Prime could possibly get him back in the fold. All these teams are losing players. Guess who wanted Travis Hunter? Right? We got Travis Hunter here. Travis Hunter was being heavily recruited by Alabama and Nick Saban. Why do you think Nick Saban jumped out of the window and accused Coach Prime, right, of paying him money when he went to Jackson State? Because they won it. So that's an example in which good coaches, good programs lose players and gain players. That's the name of the game. Some of these kids are going to decommit and commit. And as Coach Prime said in one of his press conferences, some of these kids are not even committed to their girlfriends. And we expect them to be committed to a school. This whole thing can change. Now, you may say, well, he lost another quarterback, Danny O'Neal, who's a Elite 11 quarterback. I'm going to tell you why he lost him. And I want to give a shout out to this man right here, Dave's Talk Buffs. Check out his channel. He says he's been saying this for weeks now that he was tied to Lewis. That's exactly. You've got Lewis. Sean Lewis was tied to this young man right here. That's Danny O'Neal, who is a Elite 11 finalist. So he was ranked number 4 in the country. He's a 4-star quarterback, just like this young man right here, Antwann Hill Jr. And the reason why people are saying that he decommitted, and I think Dave Talk Buffs is on to something, is because there is a relationship that Sean Lewis has to Danny. And this is what happens in college football, where a kid is recruited by a particular position coach, an offensive coordinator, not just the head coaches, but these kids look at the coaching personnel. And as a result of what's been going on with Sean Lewis and his name being put out there to leave to go to other schools, and now we know it's San Diego State. This is when kids like Danny O'Neal will decommit, because the man that they like, the guy who might have been influential that have known them, like a Sean Lewis, is no longer there. There's so many areas that play out in how programs lose and gain prospects. Sure, we want this kid right here. We want Antwann Hill Jr. But this is the name of the game in college football. The only reason why people are making a big issue over Coach Prime losing these 3 players is because it's Coach Prime. So they're going to magnify everything and blow things out of proportion more than they really need to. I hope you understand where I'm coming from. We got Alicia, we got Blue Devil Gleam in there. Glad to have you here. Cindy, I'm going to mod you up because you've been very consistent as well, and you've been very patient with some of my technical issues I've had over the last few days. So I'm going to mod you up on this channel as well, because you've been very supportive. And Bleach Material, thank you for being here. He says, hey, Prime Media Sports, can I get a ranch, sir? Well, this is how it works. I observe people in the chat room, believe it or not. I look at what's going on in the chat room, and I see who comes over, who participates, and things of that nature, okay? And I look at who's very consistent, who's very supportive of the channel, and what have you. So you keep doing what you're doing, and you know what? You may find yourself in the ranch crew. I just appreciate you all that do come over here, whether you have a ranch or not. Okay? Now, having a ranch means what? A responsibility of making sure you keep the trolls out of here, the people who come in with the nonsense. I don't mind people having critical thoughts about the team, right? Just don't get into the personal stuff. You can say, hey, you know, they're not running the ball good. Their offensive line is not that good. Oh, Coach Prime's got to be more responsible for this and that. That's football talk. Long as it stays within the parameter of football constructive criticism, I've got no problem with that. So, Cindy, thank you. I gave you a mod because I've been noticing that you've been very supportive through some of my ups and downs. All of it is technical issues that I had to fix, and I got these issues fixed. So that's why I'm live right now. I appreciate you all out there. Let me get back and stay on the course here to where I'm going with my premise here, and I appreciate you all here. Let me also, now, let me say this. Could Antwann Hill Jr. be using CU as leverage to get the other programs as he is decommitted, as you see right there, breaking news, a 2025 four-star quarterback, Hill Jr., decommitted from Colorado. Is he doing what another player did? Everybody in the chat room, do you remember this guy right here? That is who? Who is standing next to Coach Prime right now on that picture? Let me see if anybody can guess it. What's going on, Big Worm 28? Can you guys guess who that on that? Remember Charles Lester, I think the third? Remember he was touted to sign to go to CU, and many people think that he simply used Colorado as leverage. Yes, that's right, DJ. Many people believe that he used Colorado as leverage to get Florida State to do what he wanted them to do. Remember, we got the NIL, which involves money. And Coach Prime has already said that you're not going to use the program. The program is not going to be used as an ATM. So when you have the NIL in the mix, ladies and gentlemen, that means what? A lot of these kids are going to also be looking for the highest bidder. This is why the NIL, the NCAA is going to have to get it under control, because now what you've created is sort of a free agency, a gun for hire, a player for hire. You get a kid who says, hey, I'm worth this, I'm worth that. Florida State's not giving me this, so let me go over to Ohio State because they're going to give me this. They got bigger alumni that have bigger pockets. That's bad for the game. Once again, that will allow the haves to have and the have-nots to not have. And that's why Coach Prime said what he said at his press conference, that we're not going to be used as an ATM. So you have to wonder, not only when these kids decommit, is it not necessarily because they don't like the coach, they don't like the program, they don't like the school or the atmosphere? Could it also be that the honey pot ain't honey enough?
Tell the truth.
That's just a thought. Charles Lester is an example of someone who a lot of people believed he used Colorado for leverage because Colorado was getting a lot of exposure in the media and, of course, a lot of hype. And that he used that hype to prop himself up further in the recruiting. So a lot of people think that was the case when it came to Charles Lester. This is the question. How many of you think that this young man is doing the same thing? Antwann Hill Jr. By a show of, if you think he's doing the same thing, put ones in the chat room. If you think he's not doing the same thing, put two, because he did say that he's still looking at CU. Let me put this up on the board while you vote. The 6'5" quarterback out of Warren Robins, Georgia, is considered a four-star recruit and had been committed to Colorado since October, but the 2025 signal caller announced over the weekend he would be reopening his recruitment. The announcement came shortly after Colorado's season final loss to Utah. He said this, This is a quote. I was strongly thinking about reclassifying to the 2024 class. So there was a question about whether he was going to enter and leave, that he was going to enter early into the recruitment class. So he was rethinking whether he wanted to wait for 2025 or did he want to come out in the 2024, because some kids can do this if they finish high school early, if they finish their academics early. So it looks like he wants to reclassify himself to go into the 2025. At least that's what I think he's saying here. Let's read it again. I was strongly thinking about reclassifying to the 2024. Oh, so it's the reverse, everybody. He wants to get out. He wants to leave school early so that he can put himself in the 2024 recruitment class, not the 2025. That's what it sounds like. What do you think? Everybody has got ones in there. Ones represent, let's see, the Truth Reality LLC says 1. Cindy says 1. Let me see. Shirley says 1. So some of you think that it is the case. Let me see here. Deion is the only coach in the country that said that they're not a ATM. That's why he's in the situation he's in. Do you think that's true? Do you think that's true? I'm gonna let me just say something here. After a long talk with his family, he said, "I'm reclassifying anymore and would like to reopen my recruitment," he said in a statement to the On3, which is a reputable sports program you see on YouTube. You see it. They have news articles and what have you. Wow. Let me go here inside here and pull this up. Let me see. Let me pull up the chat. Hang on for a minute. I'm going to pull up the chat, folks, so I can read the things that you're saying. I'm going to pull up the chat because I want to read what you all are saying. I find this very interesting. Let me see what Mr. 7 is saying here. Mr. saying Deion is the only coach in college football that said that they're not an ATM. That's why he's in the situation he's in. That's 1,000. That's 1,000. Could that be the case? I don't know. I don't know. You can't really say that for sure because, I mean, Antwann Hill Jr. said that he wanted to think about whether he wanted to reclassify himself, as I read there. And he's already said to ESPN that he still has CU as a team that he could potentially still go to. So even though he's decommitted, and this is another thing you got to understand too. This is another thing that people have to understand. Let me just say something real quick here, folks. This is something that we have to all understand. All this commitment doesn't mean anything until these kids sign what? A letter of content. You have to sign a letter of intent. Let me correct what I'm saying here. So it doesn't matter. A lot of these kids can say that they're committed to this school and that school. It doesn't matter until signing day. Signing day is the day that you know exactly who you got. So even though he says he wants to keep his options open, it doesn't mean anything until he signs on the dotted line of that letter of intent that is binding with the NCAA. Other than that, all these kids can say this and can say that. And even if Coach Prime says, hey, we're not going to be an ATM, that still doesn't mean that that's going to completely hurt him, because not every kid, keep this in mind, not every kid is getting an NIL deal. Not every kid is going to get an NIL for big money. The truth of the matter is the top players, will get it and earn it. So some kids that are just looking for money are not going to go to CU, right? And Coach Prime has already said he doesn't want those type of kids. He wants kids that want to come there to play football and get a good education. Now, we know realistically some of these kids are looking for money. Some of them are looking, but some of these kids want to go play with Coach Prime because they see it as a way to get to the NFL, because he'll have NFL type people around the program. We already know that Warren Sapp will be a coach on this team going into 2024 in some capacity. These kids want to be around that type of cachet. Let me also put this up here. He also said this. This was Antwann Hill Jr. He also said now that he's not committed to Colorado, but he does still have them in his scope, he has circled to Alabama, Michigan, Texas A&M. And of course, Texas A&M is one of those schools that Stephen A. Smith keeps saying that Coach Prime needs to be at, but yet they haven't made any offer officially to Coach Prime. Louisville, Florida State, and LSU as notable programs he's looking at, okay? That's what he's looking at. Let me also say this, folks. I want to put something to rest, because I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, he's leaving Shador Sanders. Let me put this up here. Let me make it very clear to you, because I did some research on this and people are already saying this. Coach Prime wants both his sons, Shador and Shallow, to play another year in college and then both go into the NFL together. For those of you who keep saying that Coach Prime is leaving at this time, you are completely wrong, and I'm going to tell you why. This is why you would be completely wrong. I want you to listen to me closely, everybody. What I found out is Shador Sanders is a transferring graduate student. So he's already transferred in. Shador Sanders has already transferred to Jackson State from where? From South Carolina in the SEC. So his brother already used up one transfer to Jackson State. Then he left Jackson State to Colorado as a graduating senior with some eligibility. And as a result of that, Shador Sanders cannot transfer to another school. Hear what I'm saying to you. In the case of Shador, he cannot transfer to another school based on transfer rules under the NCAA, So this whole notion that Shador and Shallow are going to follow Coach Prime to wherever he goes, when Coach Prime is invested in both his sons playing out their last year and he wants to be the coach. He's always said to us constantly that he's the only coach that they've ever known. So even if Coach Prime was offered the job at Texas A&M or any school, he can't bring his son with him. He can't bring Shallow, and he damn sure can't bring, for dramatic effect here, he can't bring Shador. And I don't see Coach Prime leaving them both at CU and going to another program this year while somebody else is coaching his sons and leaving that program in a big disruption. Why would he want to leave the program and leave both his sons there in a bad situation without him guiding them and go to another school when he can't bring both of them there because of the transfer portal ruse. I want you all to let that marinate. If you're hearing what I'm saying, if what I'm saying makes sense, it's the rules of the NCAA. I've already did a video about this. Shador can't go anywhere because there's so many rules around graduate students. He's already bounced from one school to get to Jackson State to get to Colorado now. Shador, he can't. So those rules would concur Coach Prime from going to any program without his sons. Plus, he has a daughter that plays basketball there. She's just getting acclimated. He would now have to get her to transfer. Can she transfer to when she already made that move from Jackson State to follow him to Colorado? You see what I'm saying? So now he couldn't bring his whole family with him. This is why Stephen A. Smith doesn't know what he's talking about when he says he can just pack the family up and go he can pack up and leave, but he can't take his two boys unless they want to just not play football, because they won't be allowed to play football anywhere else in the 2024 year. I just want you all to understand where I'm coming from with that, if that makes any sense to anybody. What's going on? Peace and love, family. What's going on? Peace and love, D-Dub. And let me see, DJ Promo, what are you saying here, brother? Prime isn't leaving there. There is no other Power 5 school that will give a black coach to control like CU has done. He ain't leave. Yeah, that's another great point. What program in the country is going to give Coach Prime total autonomy like he's getting at CU? That's another big question. That's another good point. Let me see right now. Coach Prime relishes his children being all together. Exactly. He would not leave them there. And that's the whole point. If he has been adamant that he wants to see his sons be coached by him going, especially into the next year, because anywhere else, anywhere he would go, he can't take them with him. I mean, they can go with him, but they can't play football where any other program he goes. So even if he was to get the job at Texas A&M tomorrow, if they came a knocking at his door tomorrow, guess what? He might get the job, but Shador and Shador ain't wearing those colors and them helmets. They can't. The NCAA wouldn't allow it unless they made some rule, and then that would look like what? Favoritism because of Coach Prime's celebrity status. And the haters out there and the critics would never let us hear it to the end. Let me see. Mr. Seven says this. He do fine at USC. Well, if there's an opening at USC, but I don't see. I know Lincoln Riley's been under a lot of criticism at USC. Why are you still talking about him not coaching Colorado? We all know Coach Prime isn't going in. Yeah. No, I'm not saying, listen to me. I'm not saying that he's leaving Colorado. I'm giving the reasons why he can't leave, or that he wouldn't leave even if he was offered another job. That's all I'm saying. But I'm not one of these people that think that he's leaving, or do I advocate it? You know what I'm saying? We got the Beach Material says next year is going to be incredible at yeah. Oh, that's another thing I want to tell you all, that a lot of the haters and critics have failed to express. Do you know that the transfer portal is about to be open and ready to go next Monday, which I believe will be December the 4th. On December the 4th, the transfer portal officially opens up. Therefore, what does that mean? We're going to see how many players. This is the difference. This is how I'm looking at it, folks. I'm not stressing over the fact that they've got a bunch of freshmen high school kids who haven't made up their mind what they want to do yet. That's going to be decommitting from here and there. I'm more concerned about the transfer portal, because in the transfer portal, you're going to get more experienced college football players, guys that have already played college football that have experience, than the guys that are coming out of high school who are going to have to learn to play the game anyway at the college level. There's only a small few of those individuals like a Travis Hunter who can come into college football and make a direct impact, because he's that man. Okay? He's that man. Now, Antwann Hill Jr., you see him here on these highlights. I think he could be that man too, right? I mean, he's got some skills. There he is in his highlights in high school. And I don't like the idea of the young man decommitting, but once again, he could still recommit to the program. Anything is still possible, you see. Let's keep this in mind. Let's look forward to the transfer portal and how many players are going to come out of that transfer portal, and see what Coach Prime is able to get. Let's look at the offensive line. A lot of you are saying, well, they need offensive linemen. Let me give you a reminder here that I'm going to bring up. And this young man right here, let me bring this up. Danny Canal, another quarterback that decommitted. This kid decommitted. Now, let me give you his stats. He would have been part of the class of 2024. Danny O'Neal, not Canal. Danny O'Neal stands at 6'1", 190 pounds, quarterback from Indianapolis. He had been committed to CU since March, and he's made the Elite 11, as I had mentioned before. Okay, but he's not committing anymore because he is connected to Sean Lewis, and Sean Lewis leaving is probably one reason why he's deciding he's not going to continue the commitment. But that can also change too. Another thing I want to bring up to you is, remember Underwood. This is from Twitter. Don't worry, Buff Nation. Bruce Underwood, 16, will save us. Got the guts feeling he's taking the region. He's taking the reins at quarterback after Shador leaves. That's another question. This kid is the #1 quarterback in the country. We're talking about Bruce Underwood, y'all. There he is with Coach Prime when he came for his official or unofficial visit. Now, he has not signed or committed to any one team in the country. Could he reconsider his commitment and come to Colorado? Anything is possible when it comes to these young high school players. Remember, these high school players are kids, right? There he is in his uniform in high school, and there he is right there. These are the schools that Underwood. So I know that a lot of us were hoping that he would commit to us, but it's a long process, everybody. Now, these are the schools that he has on his list, and he's got a top 7, and CU is one of them. Alabama, Colorado, Michigan, LSU, Oregon, Penn, Florida State. So Colorado is in his top 7, and he hasn't committed to anybody yet. Like I said, you don't know what you're getting into what? Game day. Into signing day. Until they actually get on the field and start playing, and you actually see, oh, we got this guy, we got that guy is signed, he's on the field playing. Signing day will tell you everything you need to know, folks. Now, this is for people that were talking about offensive linemen. Who's in play for the offensive line? Remember Jordan Seaton, who's the #1 offensive lineman in the country. He came for a visit. He hasn't committed to anybody yet. He hasn't signed with anybody yet. We have a good chance of getting this young man. Another young man who's made a commitment, hasn't backed out of his commitment. Have y'all forgotten about the junior college transfer, Isaiah Walker? They say he's one of the top offensive JUCO offensive linemen in the country. He's a good one. He plays, I think, he can play guard, he can play tackle. Have we forgotten about him? Ladies and gentlemen, have we forgotten about this man right here? Tyler Brown, who was not allowed to play this year because the NCAA would not allow him, when he made his transfer, to play this year. They gave him a lot of grief, a lot of problems. He is still in the picture. So when you say, what about the offensive line? You got this young man coming back. You got Walker. Hopefully he won't decommit. He's a potential guy coming in. CU still has potential to get Jordan Seaton, who says he likes what's going on at CU. He sees what Coach Prime is trying to build. And then there's still more prospects out there that Coach Prime may get through the transfer portal. Let's not forget about that. What do you all think? Let me go into the chat room and see what you think. Vincent says, so the messy offensive tackle jumped into the transfer portal. He stated, I'm not hard to find. Hey, we're going to see what's going to happen. There's going to be some guys that are pretty decent offensive linemen that are going to jump in there. But now keep this in mind. There's no guarantee that there's going to be 5-star linemen, because usually offensive linemen are the hardest commodity of players to get on a football team, because a lot of times they don't leave schools, especially if they're a good offensive lineman and they're getting playing time. So this is a position that's very hard to fill. And it's hard to fill for any team, especially if you're a team that's rebuilding like CU. Let me put this here. Southern Mississippi offensive tackle is in the transfer portal, and he is a good one. Vince, do you think that Coach Prime can get him? Do you think we got a chance to get that man? Let me know. We got my man DC Carson Music has come in the house. He says CU had the #1 portal class this year and they struggled. That's true. Did they have the #1 portal class because Coach Prime spent most of his time just getting a lot of guys? Remember, the Cuffers was bare, so he had to get everything. I think that they became the #1 transfer portal school because Coach Prime was snatching up all types of players. If you look at the other teams that are established, like the Florida States, the Alabamas, the Clemsons, the what other programs are out here? Ohio, Michigan. You don't really see those schools loading up with tons of players from the transfer portal because they've already got depth on their team through recruiting, bringing in a few guys from the junior college, a few guys from the but they don't load the whole team up. I think CU became the #1 transfer portal school because they needed everything. And I think they really became *1 because they got a lot of skill position guys at wide receiver, like Jimmy Horn, Dotson, Xavier Weaver, and these types of guys like that. And then they got Travis Hunter, who was still highly rated. See what I'm saying? So you got to look at those parameters too, sir. We got Big Worm 28 in the house. I like that. He says, it's a lot of young men or clout vape. Yeah, they're clout chasing the clout. Yeah. See, I like, man, y'all making a lot of sense over here. Okay, Vincent says, yes, he's expected to go pro, but with the light on him at Colorado, it would help his draft status. Yes. I hope he comes on over. We got Beach Material says, Mr. 7, you mean sell some catfish dinners with some pound cake? Okay, Mr. 7 says, money talks. CU needs to do a fundraiser or something if they don't have enough money. Look, I don't know what their coffers are like. I think Coach Prime needs to see where he needs improvement and so he will be fine next season. Well, Coach Prime has already said in press conferences, everybody, that this year he clearly knows what they need, what their needs are, and he's going to go for those needs. He has made it very clear that he knows those needs. So you make a very good point. Let's see. We got DJ Premier says Underwood still has us in his top 5. And 2 of his friends from Michigan have committed to CU. Thank you. Good point. Good point. We got, great sister here. T-Boss Lady, how are you doing? Let me give you a clap. So good to see you, T-Boss Lady. Thank you for coming over and supporting. Let's go to DD and BB. All schools are battling for the best. Yeah. So that's my whole point. The only reason why the media makes a big deal over Coach Prime losing 3 players to decommitment, it's not like they signed and said, hey, I want out of here. I want to rebut what I signed. They're making a big deal because of the fact that they have been losing games. It's Coach Prime. He's got a celebrity status on him. And there was a lot of hype around the team in the beginning. And they're making it a bigger deal when every coach in the country right now has had a kid that have said to them, I'm decommitting. And you don't see the media talking about the other coaches in the country that have already had kids that have decommitted from them. And no one's bringing it up and saying, hey, this coach lost this guy, lost that guy. Nobody's talking about it because they don't have the reputation and the cachet, or should I say the celebrity or the social media presence that Coach Prime has. That's why we shouldn't get all shooken by this, and we shouldn't allow trolls and haters to try to knob at us with this nonsense. This is the nature of college football. Let me see what my man CU had the #1 portal class this year. Okay, we read that already. We got Cindy who's come back in, and she says it's happening at all the schools, but Coach Prime is being he's being highlighted. I think the reason why he's being highlighted is because they want him to fail. Now, I'm going to prove something to you all. What I'm saying and what you're saying is true. We got Sister Collins. S. Collins has come in. She says, trust me, they already know who they are bringing in as a coach. Thank you. Thank you. Let me see. D-Dub Gaming Plus says, Auburn Tigers had some decommits if I'm not. Yeah. But this is the thing, D-Dub Gaming Plus. And hear me out, my brother. Do you hear any of these sports reporters, podcast personalities, in the mainstream media? Are they talking about that? Are they writing about that? No, they're writing about Coach Prime losing players. Are they telling you, hey, Auburn just lost 3, 4, 5 guys? Huh? Have they told you any of the players that Nick Saban has lost in the recruitment class? Because he loses players and he gains players. No, only because it's Prime, they want to come with this type of stuff. We got, let me read, Roadblock 85. Bingo, thank you. Okay, we got Dave Runs 13.1 says facts. The man speaks knowledge. Thank you. Thank you. Reagan is in the house. Ray Gay is in the house saying they must be intimidated. Interesting. We got Roadblock 85 says people think the media loves him. Pay attention. All they are rooting. Yeah, they're rooting against him. You're absolutely right. And the biggest hater. And remember, if you listen to my latest podcast, I'm not clout chasing here, but I'm just, letting you know what I got going on. If you listen to my latest radio style, it's a radio style podcast on Spreaker. I go live over there on Spotify. I made it big for a minute. iHeartRadio, Amazon podcast. Listen to my latest podcast if you have not. I talk about Jason Woodlock. and how he tried to compare Coach Prime to the mass killer. You know him as Jim Jones. I wish I could have reached out into the YouTube television screen and put my hands up. Well, let me be careful. Let me be careful. This is YouTube. I don't want to make any threats, but y'all know what I'm talking about. He's been one of the biggest haters of Coach Prime, and y'all know it. And he's been jealous of the man for a long time. Let's go back into the chat and see what we got here. Okay, we got Gemini SG. Michigan State and Texas A&M fired their coaches, and those kids at those schools are flooding the portal. Now, that's what I'm talking about. How many of those kids, my sister, how many of those kids may be thinking about coming to Colorado? Right? Shouldn't we consider that? Can't come out and sign with a school, I think, until we get ready to go into next year. So it's like we're jumping ahead. The media is jumping ahead of themselves with all of this. This is what is the relationship. Let me show you something. This is what I've been waiting to show you all. I'm going to make my point about what they're doing to try to hate on Coach Prime. And like I said, Danny O'Neal, he decommitted. He was a 4-star quarterback, but that's because of the relationship with Sean Lewis. I'm going to say that again. Sean Lewis is going to San Diego State. Sean Lewis is out of CU. And when he was involved in the recruitment of Danny O'Neal, and so I think Dave Talk Buffs was 100% right about that when he brought that issue up. All right. So now let me show you something. This is what's going on. Check this out. This is on Clutch Points sports page. This is Clutch Points. This was the headline. Deion Sanders fires back at rival schools, lying to recruits about his Colorado football future. And remember, for those of you who came in late, Coach Prime can't take Shador or Shallow to any school because they both won't meet the NCAA qualification for transfer. So they can't go anywhere. And Coach Prime is not leaving anywhere without coaching his sons the next year. So that puts to rest all of that. But this is what these other schools are doing. Deion Sanders had to fire back at rival schools, lying to recruits about Colorado football future. Colorado football head coach Deion Sanders responds to rumors about rival schools lying to recruits about his future with the program. This was even on Twitter, y'all. Even on Twitter. Deion Sanders says other schools are telling recruits he will not be at Colorado in 2024 amid the Texas A&M rumor. This came out of CBS. Let me show you. You think I'm telling a lie? Here we go. This is to the haters out there. Right here, CBS, NCAA football. This is a clip right off the CBS website. Deion Sanders says other schools are telling recruits he will not be at the school in 2024, right? Check this out. This is what I want to show you. This is very, 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 very important. Check this out. This is a quote directly from Coach Prime when he was interviewed about this by these publications or these websites. This is Coach Prime's quote. And this comes right out of this article right here. Headline, you can look this up for yourself. Headline, Deion Sanders fires back. This is the headline of the article under Clutch Points. Deion Sanders said this: I don't talk about any other coaches or teams or staff. Deion Sanders said this: I am not going to put you down so I can stand up. I've never been that type of player or person in my life, but all these other schools are telling these young men and their families I'm not going to be at Colorado. Sanders continued on to say more. They think that we're going to be so successful, see, that's what they're concerned of, that I am going to leave. So they understand what we possess and the potential we possess, meaning the potential of what CU could possibly become if these kids start flooding in. But that's not true. Deion Sanders emphasized this, ladies and gentlemen. Deion Sanders. Don't tell me that there's not a conspiracy against Coach Prime and what he's doing at CU, and that there's not people out there that want to see this program not do well, and that there's not coaches out there that are going out of their way to make up stories. Now, check this out, because I know somebody's going to say something. I realize that this is part of competitive football coaching. All these coaches in this country do everything that they can to convince kids not to play at a certain school, right? All of them do it, right? But I think that they especially want to bring Coach Prime and CU down for very obvious reasons. You see that? The paint job, okay? So all coaches are competitive when it comes to recruiting and will tell kids, oh, you don't want to go play over there because of A, B, and C. Boom, right? But Coach Prime is saying that he's seeing that they're outright lying, which speaks to the character of these coaches in these other football programs. Right? Would you say that's true or false, everybody? Put sevens in there if you're getting where I'm coming from. This has been put out there because I think people, when I went live on Sunday, I think CJ came in here and was like, well, where's the proof? Oh, the articles are out there. Coach Prime has been quoted as saying these things. We know it's part of college football. It's part of the competitive spirit. We know that. We know that. But I think they're taking it a little more farther with Coach Prime. So when you say, oh, he's losing players because of the statements that he made, this is what the media does to create this sort of narrative. So when you said that it was because of when you said that it was because of what he said about the ATM, you're getting that narrative from the media, who is not trying. They're not in the favor of Coach Prime. Let me show you something. This is why we got to be very careful about how the media tries to manipulate us. Guess where that shit came from? That narrative came from ESPN. Came from Sports Illustrated, SI. Let me correct myself. This is off of SI. Deion Sanders loses 3 commits after taking shots at the NCAA recruitment policy. Now, that's the narrative they're putting out there, right? Some of these kids are not even paying attention to this. These kids are more concerned about the schools, the uniforms, the big stadiums. Could they get to the NFL? These kids are focused about where can they go to get playing time? What offense best fits them? Let's just keep it real. These kids are more concerned about what offense fits them, what coach fits them, the stadiums, the school, the excitement, the pageantry. These kids are caught up in the superficial stuff more than they are worrying about these mainstream media outlets making up narratives. Check this out. In Sports Illustrated, they said 3 college football recruits have decommitted from Colorado since Buffalo head coach Deion Sanders called the NCAA. What is him calling the NCAA out about the commitment situation made these kids? These kids are decommitting for other personal reasons. But this is how the media manipulates the narrative, y'all. The NCAA, for its practices allowing players to still go on visits after committing to a program. Last week, after receiver went, he didn't even say these statements prior to Winston. See, you see how stupid this is? Last week, after receiver Winston Watkins Jr. reopened his recruitment, Sanders proposed that the NCAA modify its recruitment policy to prevent players who have already committed to a program from keeping their options open. Now, Coach Prime had already lost Sammy Watkins Jr., or Sammy Watkins' cousin, Winston Watkins Jr. He had already lost him before he said those statements. You know why he lost him? Because that young man, like I said before, these kids are 17, 18. Their brains are not fully developed until they're like after 25 years of age. And these kids are saying to themselves, they don't know what they want to do. They want to make the best decision. Winston Watkins, he said one of the reasons why he decommitted is because he was a little concerned about whether Coach Prime was going to be there in 2025 or 2024 when he leaves. Now, if anything is affecting these kids' thinking is when the media puts out there that Coach Prime is leaving when he's not leaving. That's, you see, the media is creating a narrative that creates the atmosphere to make these kids say, is he going to really be there? When it becomes an emotional thing, when it's no, he has already said he's going to be there. Sammy Watkins, Winston Jr. met with his father and had deep conversation with his father and says, like Antwann Hill Jr., he wants to keep his options open because it's still early in the recruitment. Some of these kids enjoy taking the trips to the school. Some of these kids enjoy getting all this attention. They're probably getting more attention than they ever had in their whole life. Some of these kids, they love taking these trips, getting on planes and flying to this school and that school. Some of these kids already know where they're gonna sign, but they still want to enjoy the fruits of going to these different schools and getting jerseys and taking those pictures and those video shoots. Come on. I would like that too if I was these kids. But if you got the media putting out narratives that are not true, some of these kids might buy into the narrative. I don't think that kids are focusing on, oh, Coach Prime said they should change the commitment. I think the kids are more concerned about whether a coach is going to be there when they get there, you see? Because historically, when guys leave schools, they're always concerned more about the coach. That's why Danny O'Neal is decommitting from CU, because the coach that he likes that's not going to be there now is Sean Lewis, the former offensive coordinator. Looks like he's going to be leaving. So we have to keep this in mind. This is how the media creates a conundrum. Now, how many of you out there think that Kavosiey Smoke contribute to this problem when he came out and said, Kavosiey Smoke says that Buffaloes would be undefeated if they did not play selfish ball. And Coach Prime has already admitted and said that he agrees with Kavosiey Smoke. He said, simple facts, bro. We could have went undefeated this year. Too much selfish ball going on, man. Can't win like that. Gotta play and win as a team. But if you go the other route, you get results like this. Now, Coach Prime was not mad because Kavosiey Smoke came out and said those words. He actually agreed with Kavosiey Smoke when he got it in context. Now, when you hear a player who did not get much playing time, I think he only got 2 yards on the year. He played on special teams. They didn't use him running the ball, which I do not understand. Could Cavassier Smoke have an impact on the young players that might want to think about not going there? Yes, I think these young kids listen to other players that are in their peer group more than they listen to these guys on than these newspaper or these website articles. What do you guys think? What are your thoughts? DDBB says, definitely wise as a 25-25 recruit to keep options way. Yeah, you should always keep your options open. Come on, that's what we all do in life. We got Sister Collins who says, people create their own narratives because they don't know what's going on. Like Prime's gonna tell everything. It's a marathon, not a race. Thank you. Being undefeated national champion is really a reach, though. Right, but they don't have the players, Seth, that they need, and you know that. They got to get the players first. Deion Hater is in the house. So you're blaming... I'm not even going to answer that. Everybody in the chat room, you heard exactly what my narrative was. I said, what did I do, everybody? I said, I named all possibilities. I talked about the media, the narrative they put out. I talk about how you got coaches lying and telling recruits that Coach Prime is leaving when he's not. I explained why he can't leave, why he's not going to leave, because Shador Sanders and Shallow cannot transfer to another school. I broke that down. I've been very fair and balanced with the analysis. Cavassier Smoke is just one element of the analysis when he came out and talked about selfish football and the fact that he only got 2 yards rushing because they didn't use him as a running back. I said that some kids may listen to their peer group more than they listen to these sports websites because they're looking at guys that are actually on the team who they can talk to and they're listening to. It's common sense that kids or young people listen to their peer group than they do older adults. That's common sense. So I went down a gamut of reasoning of why these kids could be not committing. I already talked about Danny O'Neal and why he decommitted, because he's tied to Sean Lewis, and Sean Lewis looks like he's going to San Diego State. Most kids are always tied to coaches, and when coaches leave, they may change their mind. I also said that the kids that have decommitted can recommit. Nothing matters until signing day. Tons of kids decommit. Now, as I get ready to end this podcast, I'm going to play you two people that know what the hell they're talking about, and that's Keyshawn Johnson and that's Michael Irvin, that are going to break it down to you. People change where they're going to go left and right. 18 and 17-year-olds are going to change their mind. All that matters is what players sign when it comes down to official signing day. Also, I'm going to remind you all in the chat room, the transfer portal is opening up December 4th. That's next Monday. Now we're going to see what type of players actually are going to leave other programs and come over. And this was only the first year. Keep that in mind. Let's see. El Homo says, yes, players like coach when coming to signing. Interesting. All right. As far as I'm concerned right now, the haters will leave you with a laugh. All right. Prime Motivation 24/7 says, what Smoke should have said was they could have went undefeated if they had an offensive line. Then he could have gotten some playing. Good point. But check this out. Coach Prime didn't hate on him. When it was brought up to his attention in a press conference, Coach Prime didn't have anything negative to say, matter of fact, you know what? Let me play it for you. Let me find the audio clip for you right now. This is how we can solve this issue right now. Let me find the audio clip. I want to play it for you. What the hell? It's on my radio podcast too, but I'm going to play the audio clip so that y'all don't think that I'm just making up something here. Let me see. Let me find the audio clip. Give me a minute, folks. I want to find this audio clip. Where is my audio clip? Because I know I clipped this. Give me time to find this. Coach Prime sees a winning season. Oh, here it is. Coach Prime on Smoke's comments. Here we go, y'all. Told you I keep a file of stuff here. Now, this is for all the haters out there who think that I'm not telling the truth about this. Listen to this right here.
How much of, I want to get your reaction to Smoke's comments, if you could, and how much.
Well, I don't know what was it?
Posted on socials, basically, if we didn't play selfish ball, we would have been undefeated.
I like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that comment. I think that's a great comment. I just like to quantify, like, what does that mean? So that's the question I asked the team today. What does that mean? What does that mean?
What did they tell you?
They tell me a plethora of things. You should have been there. It was good.
We'd love to come.
I know. That's not gonna happen. I love y'all, but I don't trust you like that.
But it surprised, I think, everybody here too, because the messaging from guys we talked to has been very consistent and very forward-thinking, positive.
Yeah.
That was positive. I mean, that he meant that positively too, constructively. You think that comment?
Yeah. First of all, I love Smoke, man.
See?
Smoke is a great kid that worked his butt off, that's played hard, and I'm upset that we didn't live up to our expectations that he had for us. I'm upset about that because
You hear
you're
what he's
talking
saying?
about a running back that's a pro. Smoke is a pro, man, and never got an opportunity because.
You hear what Coach Prime is saying? He's apologizing that Smoke never got the opportunity to really be effective with this football team. He says that they didn't live up to his expectations, and he says that he's not mad at Smoke. You see what I'm talking about?
Because we're so deep in that position, and we're run deficient. You know that. So I'm upset that we didn't live up to the expectations that he had for us.
See?
I love that kid, man, and his mom. So I'm 100% Smoke. He said what he felt, and he felt what he said. I have no problem with guys doing that, as long as it's justified. That wasn't an attack on us. That was truth. I think every team has a little bit of that.
Right.
Yeah, I'm riding with it.
What does selfish ball mean to you? You didn't think they were selfish?
People really not taking the job serious. Sometimes maybe not studying properly, maybe not holding each other accountable, things like of that nature. But it's nothing derogatory, man. That's a challenge, and that's how Smoke speaks. So I got love for the brother, man. I really do.
How much of, I want to get your reaction to Smoke's comments, if you could, and how much.
Well, I don't know what.
Now, let me get your reaction in the chat room. Did y'all hear exactly what he said? Did you hear what he said? Were you able to pick up on what Coach Prime said? I didn't lie to you. So this whole thing, but this is how the media plays the game. Coach Prime says he's not hating on Smoke. He didn't disagree with Smoke. Matter of fact, he wishes that they could have done more to live up to Smoke's expectations, right? Hell, they should have played him more, to be quite honest. But you see how the media will play the game? That's why I brought up Smoke, because we know that there's young kids out there that are recruits that might listen to someone like Smoke and say, because kids are influenced by their peer group more than they are adults or older adults. So for the haters out there, I already showed clips today showing how the media manipulated. I showed you clips, or I showed you not audio clips, video news clips where Coach Prime was quoted as saying that he knows that the other coaches, because they're concerned about what they could possess and get to that program, that they're purposely going out of their way, lying to these players to get them to not want to come to CU. And I also admitted that lots of coaches in college football say things to keep kids from going to other schools, but it seems like they're going a little extra against Coach Prime. That's what I said. I went through a whole breakdown here. What's going on, Biz QAQC? What's going on, sister? She says, I hear Prime, however, Smoke and McCaskill were the top running backs, but Dylan, the freshman, started all season, which is insane. Running backs will be, yeah, I agree with you. I never understood that, but this is the reason why Alton didn't play a lot, though, my sister. Remember, he went into Coach Prime's office and said, I need more time to heal and get better. Can I redshirt? Remember, he came off of a serious ACL injury when he was at Houston, and he became the top freshman running back in his freshman year in college football. He's not completely 100%. That's why he went to Prime and asked to be redshirted. So I think one reason why they didn't run him as much is because he probably wasn't 100% healthy, as we might have thought. Now, in terms of Smoke, I think that was the misjustice right there. Smoke should have been running the ball. They should have been. I don't understand why. You're absolutely right. I don't understand why. I know that Dylan has been with Coach Prime since the Prime Academy days, but you're absolutely right. I don't know why to be honest, Dylan Edwards only had one great game the whole year, which was the TCU game. And then last week against Utah, he made a few good plays and looked like what we thought he would be, a guy that can catch ball out of the backfield and very speedy and fast. But they didn't even use Dylan Edwards the way they should most of the year. And they didn't commit to the run. That was the problem. They did not commit to the run. Anytime you've only got 17 rushing attempts against Utah, while Utah has 53 rushing attempts or 56 rushing attempts against you, that is a shame. Deion Hater says, Deion wasted his year, that's why. Yeah, I think I'm disappointed in that. I think his senior year was wasted. And I bet you Cavassier Smoke probably wishes that he would have went to another program where he would have got more playing time. So that's a tough one to swallow. But things are going to get better. What's going on? My sister Ellen is in the house. Let's see what my man Trey. Let's see, Trey. The Texas Truth. That bad coaching used Alton injured for the excuse they knew they did him wrong. Dude got hurt 2 years ago. Well, was it 2 years ago or was it 1 year ago? Let's correct that. I don't think it was 2 years ago. I think it was 1 year ago. And sometimes it takes you damn near 2 years to heal from an ACL tear in your knee. That's a pretty serious injury. Guys don't come back. Even if he had got injured a year ago, you don't come back 100% and play 100% a year after that. You usually get back to 100% 2 years after an ACL tear, sir. Depending on how you train in rehab, of course. Everybody is different. Some guys may heal faster than other guys, and some guys may heal slower than other guys. It just depends. Let's go. We got Lenny says, even if Smoke played the results would be the same. Yeah, it was the offensive line. Exactly. Give me your clap there. Exactly. Y'all too invested in a third string players. All right. Hey, we're just talking football here. That's all. Humbro says an ACL is terrible, an MCL is better. Yeah, he didn't have an MCL tear. He had an ACL tear, which can sometimes take a year to 2 years for you to fully get back to the level that you were playing at, right? Meaning you can play after you rehab and recover, but you may not be at the level that you were until maybe the second year. Tell me if I'm wrong or right. I've heard people who work in sports medicine. I have a background in rehab myself. I'm telling you, it takes time. It takes time. Achilles heel can destroy you. Look at Dominique Wilkins. Remember Dominique Wilkins, the basketball player? When he ruptured his Achilles heel, he never was the same player again. He couldn't jump up in the air high and dunk. I don't think that Aaron Rodgers, after what happened to his Achilles heel, I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to be the same player again. Aaron Rodgers about ready to play 6 months after a tear Achilles, which is hardly to come back from. It's hard to come back from, but of course he has superior training. He has superior facilities to get better, and he's a top-notch, he's a high-performing athlete. But I don't think after an Achilles heel, he's going to be the same player. Oh, I give you a perfect example. Lawrence Taylor. Remember, Lawrence Taylor had an Achilles heel injury too? That's why he ended his career. Because he couldn't get the same push and movement, because his game was predicated as a linebacker on his speed with his toughness. That Achilles heel will destroy a career. Okay, here we go. More. So are all the players lying about playing time? No, nobody is saying, Deion hater, nobody is saying that the players is lying. Did anybody hear me in the chat room say, did anybody hear us say or hear me say that the players are lying? Did we say Cavassier Smoke was lying? I just played you an audio. Coach Prime agreed with him. Come on, Deion hater. Why are you hating? All right, we got Cindy who says this. He can't get the ball out of his hand before he's sacked. I've said this before. One of the reasons, I think Coach Hayes said this as well. One of the reasons why Shador, and I got to bring up something about Shador too. This is very important before I get to the conclusion of the show today. One of the reasons why Shador can't get is getting sacked. When you say, oh, he's holding the ball too long. The reason why he's getting sacked quite a bit is because CU is always playing behind the sticks. They're always playing 3rd and 16, 3rd and 15, 3rd and 12. So he's got to wait for his receivers to get into their routes because they have to run deeper routes because they're playing way behind the first down sticks. If they were playing like 3rd and 6, 2nd and 6, 2 and 5, and they were running the ball, that would be easier plays for Shador to throw the ball, and he could get the ball out of his hands quicker because the receivers wouldn't have to run deeper into their routes. That is the logical reason why this is also happening, because that offensive line cannot block for him that long, and he's holding on to the ball trying to find his receivers as they are running deeper routes when they're so far from the first down chains.
Tell the truth.
It's the truth. It's the truth, y'all. It's the truth. Let me get into this. I hope that because of all these circumstances, I hope that this young man, Cam, does not decommit as well. He has committed. he has committed. He's very excited about being in CU. This is a young man who's a top athlete, CAM 2024 athlete, committed to Coach Prime and CU. Look, he says that he's going there because he likes the fact that he's going to learn from Coach Prime. They're going to let him play both sides of the ball, sort of like Travis Hunter. He's going to play defense and wide receiver. That's going to be a great addition. Hopefully he doesn't flip the script and decommit either because of all this stuff that's going on. I want to say, make sure that you subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching. I want to say like and comment and subscribe if you have not, but I'm not finished yet. I've got more details to give you about some things. I want to talk about Shador. You know, Shador did not play against Utah because obviously he was injured. He was day-to-day, they said, but guess what? It was worse than we thought. It was worse. How many of you all knew this when I bring this up? I want you to put sevens in the chat room if you were aware of what I'm about to tell you. And this is not something that I'm about to make up. This comes from his brother, Deion Sanders Jr. Okay? Shador had a very serious injury, which is why he didn't play against Utah. And you could say it's because of the sacks he's been taking. He's the most hit. I think he got hit 53 or 52 times this year, more than any other quarterback in FBS football. That's a damn shame. That is Deion Jr. of Well Off Media. I want you to hear what he said. He broke this news. Deion Sanders Jr. said this, and this was quoted in an article. Shador is recovering from a spinal fracture. It can vary. It is very fickle injury. Shador is rehab should take him around 4 months. If he does nothing, needs surgery. So he doesn't need surgery. But Shador has a spinal fracture. That's very serious. He cannot do anything for 4 months, but he doesn't need surgery. If all things go according to plan, this is what his brother said. If all things go according to plan, it should not be an issue for him to return in time for spring practice. In the meantime, all of those who called him a quitter, we're talking about people were calling Shador a quitter. All those that were calling him a quitter can eat their words. That's what the brother had to say.
Information is power. Please make sure to...
How many of you all knew about this in the chat room? Put sevens if you knew about this. That Shador was struggling with a fractured spinal fracture, which is going to keep him out of commission for the next 4 months. He doesn't need surgery. And the brother said, Deion Sanders Jr. said that people were speculating that Shador was a quitter, and that's why he didn't play in the Utah game, when in fact he was suffering from a very serious injury that needs for him to rest. How many of you knew that? Put sevens in the chat room. It's getting quiet as crickets. That's to the haters out there who were hating on the young man. That's crickets for you. You got nothing to say now. Because you know it was the haters that were calling Shador a quitter when Shador has a serious spinal fracture that he needs to rest up from. It looks like Blue Devil Gleam knew it. Prime Motivation 24/7 knew it. Cindy put 7, she knew about it. Michelle knew about it. Alex knew about it. Only a few people here knew about it. And if you think I'm lying, all you have to do is go over to his channel. You know Deion Sanders Jr.'s channel, the Well-Off Media. All you got to do is go to his Well-Off Media. I think he broke the story on his own channel. And I want to emphasize this. Deion Sanders Jr., who you see on the screen here, he said, in the meantime, all of those who called him a quitter, that includes you. Let me say it like this.
That includes all you haters. Y'all can eat dust.
He said, who called him a quitter can eat their words. I like that. I like it. Looks like Bobby Black was aware of it. Thank you for coming over, Bobby Black. GT Massive says, whoa, he needs to sit down. Yeah, he needs to rest. All those damn hits that he took, all those hits we witnessed and we lived through it, it was bad. It was bad, y'all. It was bad. And I don't know what to say. I wonder how long was he playing with that injury. I bet you any kind of money he was playing in games that he shouldn't have been playing in. You know, all the other games leading up to that Utah game, he probably played in some games that he probably should have never played in. We're lucky that he doesn't need any kind of reconstructive surgery. He can't afford it. He can't afford it, y'all. What do y'all think? Blue Devil Gleam said he should be out like 4 games. Right. Right. You can make an argument that Shador, remember the game when he was limping around? What was that? He should have been, I know I can't believe I'm about to say this. I'm agreeing with you, Blue Devil. He probably should have been set out at least 3 to 4 games this year. I really believe that. We got Ron Brown. What's up, my brother? He says the 2024 season is gonna be the season of college football ever. Why you say the mighty heart against the mighty dollar? These teams can play. Believe me, brother, I am a supporter of Coach Prime, and I'm a supporter of a team. I just want to see them do great things, but I am concerned when I got this information that Sanders Jr. put out about his brother's spinal fracture. That's pretty serious because we watched him take a lot of hits, a lot of unnecessary hits, and I wonder if there were games that he should have never been playing in that eventually led up to him not being able to play in the Utah game. I'm very concerned about that. Ellen says this. He was limping like he was limping around. I mean, that's why he didn't play in a Utah game, but we know why now, because he had something more serious than just his ankle or numbness in the arm. He had a spinal fracture, or he has a spinal fracture, and he's got to rest up for the next 4 months. And they said that he will be ready for spring practice. So he's got to go through a little bit of a rehab, get himself acclimated again. I think he'll be fine, but he cannot go through a year of being knocked around the way he was this year. That just can't happen. It's just not feasible. It's not feasible. Cindy says, I guess he found out later after his last game with Washington. Yeah, that was a tough game. Bobby Black is in the house. He says, everything has beauty, but not everyone can see it. Good point. That's a very poetic point you bring up. Wow. Alicia is in the house. What's going on, my sister? Give you a clap. And Lenny said this. He said, those Sander boys aren't quitters. You're absolutely right. They're not quitters at all. Totally agree with you. The fact he only fumbled 1 or 2 times is amazing. Yeah, the fact that he only has 3 interceptions, prime motivation 24/7, that in itself is incredible, man. Okay?
Tell the truth.
That in itself is incredible. We got GT Massive in the house. Let me go back up here. And we got Prime Motivation saying that might have been the worst offensive line play I've ever seen. That includes the NFL, college, high school, and Little League. Oh, my God. It's true. It's true. Blue Devil said this. And let me go back over here. Okay, Blue Devil says this. The last game he should have played is the UCLA. Yeah, after the UCLA game, he probably should have been resting. But like Coach Prime says, his sons are very competitive. They're not quitters. They're not going to give up. And I'm pretty sure Coach Prime had to put his foot down to keep Shador. But he said Shador couldn't even get out of the bed, that he was in pain. He said that in the press conference. That's why that guy, Ryan Stable, he played, remember? And he actually, we got to be honest, Ryan played a pretty decent game considering that he's a freshman and it was the first game that he ever started in college football. And they lost 17-23. If you look at this year and you just use some common sense, let's use some common sense right here. They got 2 bad losses. Oregon blew them out and Washington State blew them completely off the map, right? All the other games that they lost, they actually could have won those games. They could have put those games in overtime. They could have come back had it not been for some poor clock management by the coaching staff, some bad calls here and there, some things not go their way. It's a lot of things that could have played into them losing those games. So that even the game against Washington State at some point in time, the game against Utah, at some point in time, they could have beaten Utah. They didn't get blown out. They played kind of competitively. I'm going to say this again. Remember I said this before? They took a touchdown away from Travis Hunter. Remember he caught a ball and the referees took it away from him and said, oh, he didn't catch it. But I thought he did catch it. If that catch would have stood up the test of time, that could have made the difference. So just some of the things we got to think about. We got David Pierce in the house says, Hugh Jackson was fired with 5 wins. Deion with 4 wins is on the hot seat. Well, but didn't Hugh Jackson coach the Raiders for at least 2 or 3 years before he got on the hot seat? Or 2 years, maybe 3? And you can't compare the NFL to college football. It's 2 different beasts. The NFL is results. It's a business. It's the business of results, meaning you either win games or you get lost. We see coaches get fired left and right in the NFL every damn year. So I get what you're saying, but this is just the first year for Deion. And usually when you're rebuilding a program that's been in the dumps for years, you're going to need about 3 to 4 to maybe 5 years to get the program where you want to go. In the case of Deion, maybe if he gets 3 to 4 years, you start getting some recruitment classes in there, some guys transferring in, you start to build a culture there. So you got to give it time. You can't see, I bring up Nick Saban all the time because when Nick Saban took over Alabama, they were in the dumps. It took Nick Saban about 3 to 4 to 5 years to get Alabama to where it is now. What would make Deion Sanders any different? Even other than the fact that he has the personality, and yes, he could probably convince some of these kids to come play for him, but he still has to follow the same protocols of any coach who's rebuilding a new team. Keep that in mind. Thank you. Colin says Prime keeps those seats filled. That might buy him. Yeah, that's another thing. Economics. Matter of fact, it's time for you to hear this. I'm going to end the show. I'm going to end the show after this, but let me play something for you. This is going to put it in perspective. Oh, another thing I want to bring up. Coach George. And I know Big Dog Chico talked about this. Big George, this brother right here is a coach. He played with the Dallas Cowboys with Deion Sanders. There he is with the Dallas Cowboys as an offensive lineman. He put out a tweet on his Twitter. I call it Twitter. I'm not calling it X. X sounds stupid. George said, "I ain't hard to find." Is he putting out a cryptic message that he would like to be an offensive line coach? Because the offensive line coach that they got right now, I don't think he did a good job. Is he putting out a cryptic message that he wants to be an offensive line coach with Coach Prime and CU? Because he has a relationship with Coach Prime. They're friends. They know each other. They played football together with Dallas. Here he is again. What do you all think about that? Just let that simmer in your mind, everybody. Now, we're going to end the show with this audio clip. You're going to hear Michael Irvin. You're going to hear Shannon. Not Shannon. He's not. No, you're going to hear Keyshawn Johnson. And you're going to hear that goofy individual, Skip Bayless. But you're going to hear two guys who have experience in football from college to from high school to college to the pros. I want you to hear what they had to say because they're making a lot of sense. What they said puts everything in perspective as CU gets ready to go into their next college season. Check this out. What was he talking about? Let's get back to the meat and potato of the day's program. He's talking about this young man right here. He's talking about Antwann Hill Jr. He's talking about he may be able to get this young man in the fold because this young man says he still has CU as one of those schools that he could potentially still go to. And we do not have official college signing day. We're way far away from that right now. Let's continue. You can hear. Now, did you hear what Michael Irvin just said? Michael Irvin has connections. He knows what he's talking about. He says that there's coaches and people out there telling these kids they're playing music in the locker room. They're doing this, trying to mess up the recruitment for Coach Prime. And he said he's had personal conversations with Coach Prime about the stuff that they're doing to meddle with CU. This is Michael Irvin. I believe everything that he's saying because this is a man who has connections to coaches and people in the industry that can tell him what's going on. I'm just going to let y'all play this, and I'm not going to say any commentary. And I'm going to pull up while it's playing. I'm going to pull up your comments on the screen while it's playing. Please listen. You guys hear that? I just wanted to stop it at that point right there. I'm going to continue it. Do you hear that? They cannot. I had emphasized that as well. Shador and Shiloh cannot go into any school in the 2024 year with Coach Prime if he was to take a job, for example, at Texas A&M, where Stephen A. Smith keeps talking about he should go. They could not go with him. Due to the transfer portal rules under the NCAA, they would not be, and therefore Coach Prime is not going to go and leave his two sons at CU to go coach another school when he wants to be at the hip with his sons. And he has made that very clear. I just wanted to say that because people need to understand that further. And here you got people who played professional football, played in college, and they've got more connections and ears to people that can tell them inside things that we don't. And Michael Irvin has the biggest insight because he's friends with Deion and has conversations with him. He's the one that said that Deion told him that these other coaches are lying up or talking about the music that they play in their locker room before a game, trying to demonize them.
In Colorado this year.
Not stuck, but
Well, not stuck. You know what I mean? Like he's going to be there. He's staying in Colorado as it stands right now.
Yes.
If you're recruiting against him for the future, good luck. Because they're going to be a better football team. When I looked at the schedule,
Tell the truth.
I looked at the schedule for the opponents next year.
Oh, right here. Everybody, I want you to listen to the schedule of their opponents for next year in the Big 12. The Pac-12 will be resolving, and the schedule will be an easier schedule. Keep this in mind. Listen to this. I'm going to move this back up and let it play. And all right, so you heard it for yourself. Keyshawn Johnson laid out the schedule. They're going to have an easier schedule next year against teams in the Big 12 that they'll be able to compete with. I think this year in the Pac-12 was the Big 12. I mean, the Pac-12 was really difficult. They had to play against a lot of ranked teams in the Pac-12 with a team that was put together with 84 players within a short time against teams that have been playing together a lot longer than them. So we're going to see how this whole thing works out. We're going to see. I want everybody to pay attention to Monday and see what kids are going to transfer in to CU. So Monday of next week, as they said on there, is going to start the transfer portal. And we're going to see what players they get and what positions. And particularly, I know we're looking at offensive line. They need that badly. Okay, so let's take a look at that. Let's see. We're also going to look at which one of these kids on the team currently are going to leave. I suspect that there might be some kids that may transfer out of CU. That could happen. Don't be surprised if we hear about that too. But guess what? That happens at every damn school. So it's not a novelty to just CU. If it happens, it happens to all schools. So keep that in mind. Let's wait and see what happens on Monday to the transfer portal, see how many players end up coming through the transfer portal. Let's find out. Let's see. We may get some surprises. We may be, we'll see. As far as the high school recruitment is concerned, that's going to continue on for the rest of this year into next year. And we'll see what happens when signing day comes around. There's going to be an official signing day. And that's going to tell you exactly who CU's getting, who they're not getting. Because even if these kids say they're going to commit to you, that's no guarantee you're going to get them until they sign a letter of intent. That's the way college football works. And guys will transfer, change their minds, the whole 9 yards, and guys will use other schools against other schools for leverage, just the way we saw with Charles Lester. Remember Charles Lester, the defensive back who ended up going to Florida State? A lot of us believe that he went back and forth to Colorado to create leverage for himself going forward to Florida State. Just keep that in mind. This is the name of the game of big-time college football, everybody. I thank you, everybody out there who's been watching the program. Once again, I want to say thank you again for watching. Make sure you leave a comment on this video and also subscribe. Share this video on all your social media. Tell people about the channel. If you're a content creator, share it in your community tab. I really appreciate you out there, all of you that have come over. Thank you. I want to say this too. This is very important for me. I want to say thank you to everybody that's been patient with my channel. I tried to go live this whole week. I tried to go live one day and I had some technical problems. I tried to go live earlier today and I had some technical problems and I ended up coming back on. So thank you. These technical problems happen when you're using equipment and internet and all this sort of stuff. You know, there can be bugs, there can be glitches, things of that nature that can go wrong. So I apologize for any glitches that I had when I've tried to go live and you were waiting for me to go live and I didn't go live for some reason or something didn't go right. So just keep that in mind. These things can happen. I appreciate you all. Much respect to you out there in the chat room. Thank you for spending your time over here. I thank you, everybody out there. Sister S. Colin, Slide Johnson, all of you, Slide Johnson, all of you that have come through, I really appreciate you at all. Cindy, thank you for coming over. L, Humble Negro, that guy, thank you. Surfer Boy 3000, thank you for coming over. Everybody for coming over. Seth, thank you. All of you that watch my videos, when I upload videos, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule, out of your life, to watch videos, to leave comments, to show a brother some love. And what I'm going to do with this channel, even though the season is over, we're going to continue. I'm going to follow everything that happens this offseason to Colorado, players that they get, players that they lose. I'm going to follow everything. And I'm going to do live streams like this every now and then where I can hear your opinions. I can pull your comments up on the screen and hear what you're saying, what your thoughts are. We're going to keep this thing rolling. We're not going to stop. We're going to keep this thing rolling. And I'm going to still do uploaded videos and make them short videos for you as well. And those premieres that I give you, I appreciate all of you. Take care, everybody. Peace.
Calling up your homies and it's hard to explain. Yeah, it's hard to explain. Staying on my mind on the usual. Wanna call you up like we used to do. Tell you all the things I could do for you. Nah, 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 right now. Staying on my mind on the usual. Wanna call you up like we used to do. Tell you all the things I could do for you. Nah, 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 right now.
Tell the truth.
Staying on my mind on the usual. Wanna call you up like we used to do. Tell you all the things I could do for you. Nah, 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 right now. Staying on my mind on the usual. Wanna call you up like we used to do. Tell you all the things I could do for you. Nah, 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 right now. I've been feeling like a loner lately. Been a minute since I woke up feeling sober. When awake, I'm seeing nightmares. Sleeping, you are right there like you never left. And I am hoping that you might care. Change on me. What about us? What about the times when I feel like I could trust? Yeah, now I'm on a chase for the same shit. I hear the sirens in the lake and wanna chase them. Beauty on the out, but I'm surrounded by the fake shit. Beasts in a maze. Sing about freedom like a bird in a cage. That's a whole different pain. Calling up my homies and it's hard to explain. Yeah, it's hard to explain. Staying on my mind on the usual. Wanna call you up like we used to do. Tell you all the things I could do for you. Nah, 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 nah. things I could do for you. Nah, 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 right now. I wonder if you're social lately. I wonder if you're always fucking sober or emotion roller coaster, barely coasting, hardly cope and wanna call me, but you never push that motherfucking button. Change on me. What about us? What about the times when you feel like you could trust? Yeah, now you wanna chase for the same shit. You hear the sirens in the lake and wanna chase them. Beauty on the out, but you're surrounded by the fake shit. Beasts in a maze. Sing about freedom like a bird in a cage. That's a whole different pain. Calling up your homies and it's hard to explain. Yeah, it's hard to explain. Staying on my mind on the usual. Wanna call you up like we used to do. Tell you all the things I could do for you. Nah, 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 right now. Staying on my mind on the usual. Wanna call you up like we used to do. Tell you all the things I could do for you. Nah, 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 right